Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So, we got a little bit of information a few days back about some of the upcoming cards that are going to be joining the game in June, outside of the normal Series 5 releases. So, here we take a look at those so we have a better idea of what you can be expecting to join the game next month. They are going to be doing these new Series 4 releases pretty regularly going forward. If you're wondering why there weren't any this month, it's because they essentially took the ones that were going to come out this month and put them out a week early to launch with Snap Packs. So the ones we got with Snap Packs were the ones that were supposed to be for May, but starting June and presumably every month after, we're going to have more cards joining the game in the Series 4 spot. So what cards are joining in June? The direct to Series 4 cards that you're going to be able to get through the shop and Snap Packs seem to be Mercury and Hellion. Mercury's a 2/2. You can move this once. Ongoing enemy cards here cannot move. So a mover that hates on other movers. Kind of interesting. We've seen things like Scream, Tech Deck, or not really Tech. We've seen things like the Scream deck and Move Bounce be pretty popular. And pretty strong decks. So now there is a dedicated hate card, which I'm curious to see how good of a card this ends up being. But there are quite a few movers in the metagame, most notably Sam Wilson. He jammed this down in a Sam Wilson lane, and suddenly the shield is now stuck. Worth noting, you can't, I don't think you can time this, so you can't, move this into a lane and have it stop a card that's also moving at the same time. So if I have a Nocturne on the left and my opponent has a Mercury on the right, if they move the Mercury while I try to move the Nocturne, I don't think it can stop it. But yeah, it's an interesting card. I do worry a little bit. It could be pretty mirror breaking in mirror matches where you have a deck that cares a lot about moving your cards, and well, you can run Mercury for a little bit of synergy and to make it much harder for your opponent to execute those game plans. Yeah, maybe Jeff Stonks finally go up as a way to get around this effect with a mover. We'll see. But this card seems pretty strong as far as tech cards go. It is a little bit understated at 2/2 to make up for that, I guess, but I would not be surprised if this card ends up seeing a decent amount of play, given we have only gotten more cards that are useful to move over time, even in non-dedicated move decks. Speaking of move, though, Hellion, 5/8, the original Legion stat line. On reveal, next turn, you can move cards to this location. I think this card is quite powerful. I think 5/8 with a strong effect slapped on it is usually good. And I think this is a strong effect. It's a one-sided cloak. And unlike a lot of other move effects, this is something you could do in a deck that does have a lot of, movers or move payoffs, but you could just run this in a mid-range deck. This card is pretty good at making it kind of hard to guesstimate where your opponent's power is going to end up. You play it on turn 5, and then they have to play the classic New York guessing game of, is my opponent moving the cards or not? Except, unlike New York, they don't get the ability to move their cards, which is a pretty big difference. The only downside with a card like this is it is kind of a lemon on turn 6. Since it is a effect that hits you on the next turn, you really have a small window to play this card, unlike something like Legion that is useful on both turn 5 and turn 6. But with the addition of Surge recently, now maybe this is something you can play as early as turn 4, which could be pretty good. So I have reasonably high hopes for this card. I think this card could end up being pretty decent. The fine stat line, it's a powerful effect, but the biggest downside is that you aren't getting too much value out of it if you're not playing it by turn 5. Then you're just playing kind of an understated or mediocre body. So a little bit of risk reward there, but I do think it is going to be a decently strong card. And these cards are going to be releasing right away at the start of the season, at least according to the current data mine. So that will be happening on June 3rd. Those aren't the only cards we have on the docket for this month, though. The other two cards that appear to be joining the game are Cobra and Kid Omega. Cobra is a 2/3. Activate, switch one of your opponent's created cards here to your side. So if you ever want to yoink over a demon or a Thanos stone or something along those lines, Iron Patriot card is a pretty effective way of doing that. I think this is going to be a pretty niche card. I don't expect it to be especially powerful, but I think there will be metagames where this is a relevant card you can use as a decent body. I think the big thing about these 2/3s is that the opportunity cost of including them in your deck is relatively lower, since 2/3 is kind of that premium stat line. If you get a 2/3 that can actually have a good effect versus a handful of decks, that is usually worth justifying its inclusion. So I think that one can be pretty decent. And then Kid Omega 2/2 activate. Destroy the next card you play this turn to gain its power. This is the card that's going to make Elixir playable, potentially. Elixir, one of the upcoming cards next week, seems like one of the worst cards they have ever printed with the current card pool. But I think that's because they designed him with Kid Omega in mind. So you use Kid Omega to blow something up, retain its power, bring that card back with Elixir, get some value. At least that's what makes sense to me. So if you're a Elixir fan and you're a little sad that he seems underwhelming, maybe Kid Omega will give him the boost he needs. These ones are going to apparently be dropping with a limited time game mode, which is currently slated for June 12th. And they will show up in the shop afterwards. It says June 23rd, according to the data mines, although I believe prior messaging about this was that the event cards will join I think they won't join the pack pool until the following month, until the season ends. So I don't know if that is accurate information or not. We'll have to wait and see. We don't know what we don't know what the limited time mode is going to be for the month. It's possible it's a new one, although I personally wouldn't expect that, because we did have some other data mine stuff. That sounds like the next new mode they're working on is going to be related to the Fantastic Four, which is coming in the July season. So I would expect this new mode to be one of the old ones brought back. We've had a lot of high voltage in the months prior to this one, so I don't think it's going to be high voltage, which leaves Diner and Sanctum as the main options. Diner's been gone for a while, presumably because they are doing some work to make it less hated of a mode, or at least that's what I would like to think. So maybe they've done some work and it's ready to come back, but I think the one that a lot of people would prefer, at least going off of past performance, was Sanctum. I think Sanctum was quite fun, and I think it was my favorite of the modes we've gotten so far, and I'd like to see it come back. So it also makes sense because Sanctum, it was a little bit more straightforward for releasing multiple cards at once, and it seems like we're getting 2 event cards, though they could very easily do 2 event cards in the other modes as well, just by replacing the variant slot on the rewards track. But I'm personally hoping for Sanctum. Sanctum was kind of a fun and unique way to play the game. The rewards are really good, and I think it's something that would be a very welcome return. So here's hoping on that front. Again, all this is data mine stuff, so it's subject to change. It could change, but this is what we know right now. So if you're trying to plan out how your season's gonna go, this is what you need to know in terms of the Series 4 cards joining us next month. So that's going to wrap it up for the video. If you want to check out this stuff for yourself, I'll have a link in the description where you can peep the article. But I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about the new cards and which ones interest you. But that's going to wrap it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.